Is this someone's?
Oh, that's mine. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, I think we're all live. Welcome everyone to the Atlanta FileMaker Developers Group. Today is May 1st, 2019. Oops, all right. Today's presenter is Makah Encarnaco from Soliant, and she's going to be presenting on an organization that she started for outreach for the FileMaker community, as well as some custom functions that she's put together. But before we get started, let's go around the room and we will do our introduction. So I'll start down on this side here, okay?
Christy, Mac Advantage.
Eric Good, closed good.
Todd Daniel, the entry enforcer, a security company.
Junior, 360 Works.
Nice.
Joshua, 360 Works.
And my name is David Nadel from Blue Feather. All right, so I'm going to pass this off to Makah now. Let me give this to you.
All right, cool. All right, so my name is Makah Encarnaco, like David said, thank you. And I've been with Soliant for, oh my gosh, going on it'll be 12 years in July. So quite a while now. And I didn't even know what FileMaker was before I joined Soliant. They taught me everything. So it's been really awesome for me. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about today is the presentation I did at Pause X in Tulum. So I'm going to just share my screen. Whoa, that is so bad. All right, can you guys see this?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so it's a little bit Tulum themed because it's for Pause, but the message is still the same. But all right, so just talk about all the different ways of giving back. And so I kind of want to start this session with a couple questions that I want you kind of to think about for you personally about giving back. And I'm hoping that the answer to these questions will be different now compared to the end of this session. So what are the different ways that you give back to the community? And how many of us feel like we just don't have enough time to volunteer and give back, that basically our workload is too full? How many of us feel like we don't have any really big volunteer-worthy skills? And really, what kind of things are holding us back from like volunteering our time to help the community? I found some interesting facts about volunteering that I'd like to share with everyone. I hope that you'll find this interesting. So volunteering actually improves your health. They found that it improves your body, it strengthens your body, improves your mood, and actually will lessen stress. And volunteering will actually, based on these studies, will make you as healthy as a 5-year younger non-volunteer. So that's a pretty big impact. Those who volunteer regularly have a 27% chance of gaining employment. And not only that, but they actually have more employment opportunities based on their CV. On average, volunteers spend about 50 hours per year donated time, which is really not a whole lot if you think about it in the grand scheme of a year. Women tend to volunteer a little bit more than men, about 6% more. And this is kind of a really interesting one. This one's my favorite. Volunteering makes you feel like you have more time. And I love this. And I never even thought about it this way until I read this statistic. But I feel like it's really true. And I was trying to think, like, why is it? Like, why is volunteering make you feel like you have more time? And I think for me, the answer is it puts things in perspective, like things that you were kind of stressed out about before, that really, aren't, in the grand scheme of things, aren't not that big of a deal. Volunteering your time and helping others, it kind of makes you realize that what's really is a big deal. Like these things that really are a big deal, the way the impact you can have, the small impact you can have on other people by volunteer time is really much more meaningful than getting that report out in 20 minutes, because your boss told you 15 minutes ago to get that report out. So So yeah, so that was my perspective, but would love to hear any thoughts what you guys have on why you think that might be.
And why volunteering makes you feel like you have more time?
Yeah, uh-huh.
That is a puzzler.
Yeah. Total like psychological mindset, right? Like it's kind of just it's a perspective thing. But yeah, well, very interesting, I thought. All right, so I'm gonna go through a couple ways to give back. And I'm sure some of these you're going to be like, oh, I do this. I didn't even know that I volunteer by doing this. And so just answering questions on the forum. So you're helping someone who is stuck and you're volunteering your time to help someone get unstuck. Blog posts and video tutorials are great ways to volunteer and to give back to the community because you're teaching somebody. And obviously, I feel like there's such an amazing community base for FileMaker. There's so many great, I mean, if you just search on YouTube, FileMaker, there's so many great videos, so many great tutorials. And those are people who are just volunteering their time to kind of help someone learn new tricks or just the basics of FileMaker. Podcast is another good one. I don't know if you guys listen to Matt Navarre's podcast, but I really enjoy it. I totally like binged listen to it after DevCon, after this past DevCon. I really liked it. So that's a way to just volunteer if you like to talk. Some other ways to give back is there's some DevCon initiatives out there for those of you who attend DevCon. The Visionary Bar, I don't know if you know what that is, but you could volunteer to sign up to be at the Visionary Bar. And basically you sign up for a slot and then you say, I'm going to just be there at the booth for that slot. And anybody who comes up at that time with any type of technical questions, you're there to help them out. So it's like mentorship, with just a dedicated slot. So it's a nice way to kind of give back. There's also this thing called DevCon Buddy. Did you have a question, comment?
I was just saying, I'm definitely going to be doing the Visionary Bar at DevCon this year. I did that.
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun. It's like
it's so much fun.
Fun doing it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And especially what I like to do with the Visionary Bar is because usually they put in like I think it's 3 people per time slots. And so I coordinate with some of my friends, like, okay, let's all do it together at this time. And it's really nice because then it's like if you are stuck, you can ask them. Like, I'm like, I have no idea. Let me go ask somebody else. Or you can help each other. And if there's nobody that comes up and that happens, then you get to like hang out. So yeah, it's really fun. So another really fun thing is DevCon Buddy. And this is something new we did under Women Innovating Together last year. We're going to do it again this year, where basically if you kind of know the ropes of DevCon, you've been a couple times, you know who are the good speakers that that people should not miss. You can help somebody who is what we call a rookie. So we have the ambassadors and we have the rookies. And they used to call it the new attendee meetup, and this year they're calling it the DevCon Buddy meetup. But basically, everyone, if you want to be a rookie, if you want to be a DevCon Buddy, you come to to that meetup. And I believe, when is it? It's like really early on in DevCon. I forget exactly, but if you check the schedule, it's on there. And the idea is that you will kind of organically meet somebody at the meetup and be like, oh, do you want to our personalities fit, or we are good. We seem like we might have fun hanging out. And so you kind of form a pair that way. And it doesn't have to be a pair. It can be like one to many. It can be, one ambassador to many rookies. So it's kind of just a fun way to help somebody and maximize their DevCon experience. So you can teach them, you can have lunch with them one of the days. You can kind of, tell them what after hours activities are good, or just what sessions they should go to. Or another good thing is networking. Like, if you know that they're really good at, if they're really like want to learn more about security or something like that, like just introduce them to Stephen Blackwell or Wim Decor, something like that. So yeah, I think it's really, really fun. And if anyone has any thoughts on this for how to like make a good match, like what kind of things we could do to kind of get people kind of make it, I guess, less awkward, because it was a little awkward last year. It was kind of like, okay, everybody go and talk and see if you can find a pair. So we're trying to think about this year how we can make it a little less awkward and more fun, and trying to get to know everybody, um, and so that you can find a good match. So if anybody has any thoughts or ideas on that, please let me know. I don't know if you want to talk about it now. If anybody has any ideas right now.
I don't know, maybe doing assignments before people get there to pair people up, or to do groups, that might save the awkward find a match time. I don't know.
Like what kind of like okay, so I know what you're talking about, like force assignments basically, just
Yeah.
like kind of okay.
Like, so you're in charge of these 3 people, and you're in charge of these.
Yeah, we could do that. My concern with that is that this is someone that you are going to potentially hang out with, multiple times during DEF CON. So I want it to kind of be someone that you like, you know? So I feel like it's going to be more successful if it's somebody that you mesh with. And so my concern is if I just assign people, like some people will mesh, some people will not.
Maybe you can take those personal interests and things into consideration. Like
Yeah,
from volunteers.
that's a good idea. Yeah. So one thing we're thinking about doing this year is like everyone in the room can like answer 3 questions about themselves, and we were going to put like a list of questions on the board. Something about like music and like what music you listen to, what books you read, I don't know, something like that. So kind of like other common interests outside of DevCon ish, technical ish things.
Maybe before DEF CON, if it's something that people are signing up for ahead of time, so that people can get matched up easily there.
You know what might be cool is like have recommendations, like almost like swipe right, but but like, yeah, if we have a questionnaire, and then like after you fill out your questionnaire, it would say like you might be a good match with, and here's a list of people, and now they're on your radar, and then you can kind of talk to them and decide if you wanted to be a match with them in person.
We'll make a little database and put it up online and let people swipe right on their phone.
Yeah.
all the people looking for a buddy, all the new people can like swipe right.
That's not a bad idea. All right, cool. So that's that one. Okay, so this is one you guys are already doing, is meetups. I think it's a great way to give back. You're all volunteering your time to kind of help each other out. And Women Innovating Together, there's a ton of things in there for women to kind of take some leadership role, and you're really just volunteering your time to kind of help other women progress in their FileMaker career. FileMakerStandards.org is also a cool way, because they basically volunteer their time to document standards and help the community just do best practices. So another one is mentoring. So Women Innovating Together does have a mentorship program where you can kind of sign up, fill out a form, and it does ask you a bunch of questions, and then we try to match you up with a good fit. So you can sign up to be a mentor, a mentee, or both. And we look for people at all levels, even if you feel like you are maybe intermediate, you can still mentor a beginner. I think no matter where you are in your FileMaker career, there's going to be people who know more than you and people who know less than you. So there's definitely, you could always give back through mentorship. Another one I like is volunteering with children. So just kind of exposing FileMaker or coding in general at a young age. And these are my favorite ones. I think that the tech world in general is a very male-dominated field. And I think the best way to kind of even that out a little bit more is exposing children to coding at a younger age. So I think this is a really cool way to do that. And just kind of give them the confidence early on. But it obviously applies to males too, applies to boys. Anyone. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's not leave them out.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to leave them out. Where would we be without them? We would. But but yeah, so I think just helping kids learn about coding early on, I think it's a really good way to get young people into tech and eventually, hopefully, into FileMaker. So this is the thing this one is like near and dear to my heart, is doing pro bono work for nonprofits. And so we have been doing a lot of pro bono work at Soliant with something that we call the Humanitarian Committee. And I was presenting at DevCon last year about the Humanitarian Committee and all of the nonprofits that we've been able to help through the Humanitarian Committee. And after my presentation, a young woman came up to me and said, how can I be part of the humanitarian community even if I don't work at Soliant? And kind of a light bulb went off, like, why? Like, there isn't anything that makes it easy for developers to do nonprofit. And I'm wondering, like, can we do something similar to the humanitarian committee, but for the whole community? And so I was like super excited after DEF CON. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. And it kind of like fell through the cracks and it never really took off. And then luckily I kind of totally just, I don't know, the cards just fell into place. And two other people had a very similar initiatives and passions that I do, Chris Kubica and John Nicoletti. And so we decided to create Join Table together. So we are going to officially launch in right before DEF CON, basically at DEF CON. We hope to be like officially launched. So you guys kind of have a sneak preview to what we're going to try to do. And basically what it is, I want to kind of exit out of here and I can show you the website that we have. Let's see here. So it's really just a matchmaking site. So what we want to do is kind of similar to the mentorship program at Women Innovating Together. We want to be able to kind of bring FileMaker developers and nonprofits together. And our goal long term is really is to have people kind of sign up on our website and be like, fill out a form and say, this is what I need. And then kind of we find good fits and then we just bring them together. And one thing that I think there's tons of benefits of doing this, not just the fact that you're giving back, but there's also, if you want to test out a new hire and you want to see if they have good chops and you just want to do a project with them, like this might be a good thing to do. If you want to potentially find new developers that you want to hire on to your company, maybe you can do this project and ask to be matched with other developers and see if there's anyone that you really liked working with to try to bring them onto your company. If you are pretty new, and this was the woman who came up to me and asked to be part of this after the DEF CON presentation. She said, I'd love to be mentored by somebody. I would love to just be able to learn from someone who's really experienced and give back at the same time. So if you have like some sort of mentorship relationship where maybe you're the tech lead, like you're basically the architect and they are the developer, and you're just making sure the project is on the right path, but they're doing most of the work, and at the same time they're learning from you on what is the right path, like how do I do things correctly. So so this is kind of our website. This was our idea, and then we did have a bunch of resources on here. So we're hoping to just kind of here's a bunch of FileMaker tools, just kind of give information management tools. And then we have a bunch of FileMaker videos and a bunch of blogs. Just want to help the developers and help. And these are some pro bono tips. Some links for basically the nonprofits or for people who are doing pro bono. And here's some FileMaker tips. We also have a frequently asked questions for our initiative, like what is it about, what does it mean, how do we do it, how do you do pro bono work, how is it different than a paid project, and then we have a couple blog posts right now. So we're actually working right now on the form to where you can actually start filling out and saying like, this is my interest and this is what I'd like to work on and I'd like to volunteer, etc. So that is hopefully going to be all ready by DEF CON. But yeah, so that's really our hope is to get it there. Any thoughts, any suggestions, any feedback?
Yeah, it's a new project. It looks like you're on the right track for things. That forum definitely seems like an important piece to allow people to submit
Yeah.
on either side.
Right. I think that's going to be like really what makes it work, because right now it's really just information. And we do have a contact form, so if you are interested in like basically being kept up to date, you can kind of just sign in here. Just sign up and say I'm interested in participating in the future once it starts running. And I'm really happy that we already have like I think we have maybe 4 or 5 people from Pause who did sign up, so it's pretty cool. So far,
Pause, what is pause?
Pause on air.
yeah, Pause on Air in Tulum, Mexico was Pause X. It's like, are you familiar with Pause on Air? It's like what they call it, the unconference, but it's
not
basically
sponsored by FileMaker.
right, exactly.
And the focus is kind of like on stuff outside of FileMaker. They integrate with FileMaker. And it's a lot smaller. I think it was about 45, 50 people.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I should go to that sometime.
Yeah, it's fun.
I heard it's really fun. I haven't actually been, but I heard it's extremely fun. And a lot of it is instead of like DEF CON is you have one presenter and they just like show their stuff and then that's it. And then like you absorb it and leave the room. But at Pause, it's more of a conversation. And a lot of people say like you don't even have to have a presentation ready. Like you could just have a question or have a topic you want to discuss. And it's more like interactive. And everyone is kind of like talking together about the subject. And I was talking to Matt Navarre about Pause, and he said something really cool. He said that the last Pause he went to, before Pause X, he was talking about the one before that. He said there was not one person where he didn't learn something from them. Like every single person at that Pause, he learned something from that person. So I think it is kind of a cool way to just meet and have a conversation, have FileMaker conversations with people and learn that way.
Yeah.
All right, so that was that one. And then okay, so yeah, back to the questions. I'd love to learn what kind of things you think are holding you back, because I think Joint Table, we would love to help find solutions for those kind of things. And I guess that was it. Because I thought I had something else. No, I guess not. And then so yeah, I hope that some of these questions might be a little different now. And then and yeah, what kind of different ways of giving back to the community. I think that you'll kind of see that there's a ton of different ways. So I'd love to open it up to have a discussion, like what people think about giving back, like what kind of things hold them back about doing it, or who's already doing it, what kind of ways are you doing it? I'd love to hear from you all.
Biggest challenge would be time management. Do you have any secrets for disciplining yourself to do your day job and your pro bono work?
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like if you found a pro bono project that you could dedicate like maybe an hour a week to it? Like,
Yeah.
Does that seem possible?
Yes.
I think a lot of people, because they are getting this work for free, they kind of know to expect that it's not going to happen extremely fast. And I think the important thing is setting expectations right away and just saying, like, I would love to work on your project. I'm really passionate about what you guys do. But I can only dedicate an hour a week. So here's where we're going to be like, here's how long it will take me to complete this task.
I think getting help with that from the organization could be really useful. I know, thinking about this now, a concern that I might have is if you go into and establish a relationship with someone and you get frustrated or disappointed at, volunteers' responsiveness or timing, or they've got critical things that are going on there, and you're saying here, it's not your day job,
Right.
that help setting those expectations to stop the relationship from turning negative.
Right.
There are problems with something, or for some reason you can't continue it. I think that would help lower the barrier to entry, maybe.
I think that's a good point. And I think what we would love to do at Join Table, like, we want to be kind of involved in every project. So we are hoping we don't like just set you up and set you free, and let you go. But we want to be like kind of your support. And during the introduction, we could have like a sort of checklist and be like, okay, let's talk about these things and let's set expectations now. Like, what is your availability? The other side of that is the nonprofits availability, because oftentimes, like, they are doing, a 5-person job for one person. So they sometimes don't have the time to meet. And I know with the humanitarian committee, we had one developer who was helping it was a school in San Francisco, and it was a school for low-income families. And he went on site because he lived in San Francisco, so he's like, well, I'll just go on site. And he had to wait an hour just sitting there for Sister Teresa, or Sister, is her name Sister Teresa? No, I can't remember her name, but we'll just call it Sister Teresa for now. Sister Teresa to meet with him and talk about the database. And he was like really frustrated. And it's like, I get it, because it's you're volunteering your time. And and I guarantee you, if they were charging for that time that he was sitting there, she wouldn't have been late, right? So it is kind of a double-edged sword. But I think the important thing is to set expectations and upfront. And it's totally fine to say things like, if you are like more than 15 minutes late to our meeting, I'm gonna have to reschedule because I can't wait. I have other things to do. So yeah, I think it is all about setting expectations for that. Any other, like, how do you feel about working with other people on a project like this? Like, would you prefer to do something by yourself, or do you like the idea of kind of meeting a new developer and doing it together and then keeping each other on track?
I think that's good.
A fun way to learn and get a fresh perspective.
Well, we've done that in the past here at our developers meetings, where we've actually had Dave from Atlanta Homeless needed a task completed, and so we brought it in, and as a collective here, we helped get it done right there that night.
Yep.
I think it was pretty much
packed
and
One thing that you mentioned that I'm really interested in too is ways to experience new things and directing people and meeting people. I know some of the FileMaker developers at our company want to learn some PHP things, and there are some simpler, web integration problems that they could solve for some of these organizations if they took some time on it and were able to get it done. Maybe slower than a paying client would be happy with it, but they can take their time on it, right? Then that might be a good way for them to gain experience and to kind of learn some new skills that they didn't have.
Totally, that's totally true. One thing that Soliant has launched, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it's called Carafe, and it's basically a JavaScript integration for the web viewer, where you don't really have to write JavaScript. It kind of does the JavaScript part for you. And so we had a humanitarian committee project where one of our developers really wanted to learn it, but she didn't have the opportunity, so she took the opportunity through her pro bono project. And now she's like gonna present on it. She knows it so well. So yeah, totally. It's a way to kind of get your feet wet on different technologies without having to charge that time to the client and feel guilty about it, or get yelled at for it. No. Yep, that's a really good point.
On jointable.org, will there be a place maybe where we could load snippets for people to discuss of scripts, or maybe discussion boards?
Oh, yeah, I never thought about that. But like, so I know that I have talked to Rosemary about Jointable a little bit, and she did offer me a place in the community site. So I was kind of like, I'm not sure what that could be used for really. But now that you say that, I'm gonna have to take her up on that. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. Or even like, has anyone worked on a file for, a animal rescue group? Can you give it to me so I can like tweak it for this new project? Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah, maybe not as much technical questions as project level questions like that.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. That's such a great idea.
Sure.
Awesome.
Can you talk about women in innovation?
Sure. So Women Innovating Together, we are formerly a Women of FileMaker. And so let me show you what their site is. And really what we do, there's a couple initiatives and mentorship. So I actually run the mentorship program. So if I come over here and click mentorship, this will give you some guidelines on how to be a mentor. And then you can sign up. You can sign up here, and you basically will fill out a form and like, what are your preferences? So if I say like, here, I'm a mentor, what's my level? And then what are the different focus areas that I want? Like, I want to learn how to grow a business. I want to learn more about ESS. I need some help with HIPAA compliance. So, so you can really pinpoint the kind of mentor or mentee that you want to work with. So that's really that. Any questions on that before I move on? And I can show you here really quick. We do have our mentor list, so you can see that kind of the people who have signed up to be mentors. And if you do sign up to be a mentor, we would love to add you to this list.
Grants and scholarships too?
Yes, so Women in FileMaker does do DEF CON scholarships. Now, the mentorship program is open to all genders. Like, we don't discriminate. Anyone is welcome to participate. We do provide DEF CON scholarships for women who have not been to DEF CON yet, and it has to be their first DEF CON. And then they provide a survey and say, sorry, not a survey, an essay. And they talk about basically why they wanted to go to DEF CON and their kind of experience in tech. And it's really exciting this year. I believe, I don't know if it's public yet, but we have picked the winners, and they were able to pay for their DEF CON admission and their hotel and their transportation. So it's really cool. Like, we were able to give them a full ride, because I think last year was only the admission and they had to pay for their own hotel and their own transportation. So and all of this is funded through donations. So we have like a really amazing donation base. And it used to be with GoFundMe, but now we just became a 501c. So now we can officially have our own bank account, and so we can you can donate right through our website. So I wonder what this number is, but the amount of people, so it's pretty high. I know last year we exceeded our goal, so it was really cool. So yeah, lots of people helping with that. And so we do that. We do the scholarships. We also have a luncheon, and it's also for women to get together at DEF CON to kind of meet and other women at DEF CON. And we have a couple of presenters. It's usually some of the scholarship winners present, and then we talk about all of our other initiatives. And we have a couple initiatives like in the works that aren't official yet. So one of them is like kind of outreach and kind of getting more younger people into FileMaker, kind of exposing them to FileMaker at a younger age. That's something that's in the works, but we have a couple other ideas. But those are the official things. Any questions about any of those?
Nope.
Cool. All right. So if there's nothing else, I do have another, looks like we have a little bit of time. I have another little quick thing I can show you guys if you're interested. So let's see here. Here we go. So I do have this sample file I created, and it's for, what it is a custom function that creates dynamic JSON. So for related records, like for children records. So normally you'll have to like loop through and create the JSON, and or if you hard code it, like then you know if you're missing some data, then you'll have like question marks there. So I created a custom function that basically all it does is takes this related data and will turn it into JSON for you. So let's see if I click on models. So it just takes that, it turns that on to JSON, and you can even add some other data and just put this as a different object. So I'll clear this out.
Can you zoom in on your screen a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see, I think I know how to do that. No, cancel. Is it command? I thought it was command plus. Maybe it's option plus. It was command plus, right? Why is that not? Aha, there we go.
Thank you.
Sure. Sorry about that. Is that big enough or one more?
That's better.
Okay.
I think that's
It's good.
Okay, cool. So then I can add a new, I don't even know what other Toyotas there are out there. Accord, there you go. Let's see, 2 R's, right? Accord, or 2 C's. And that's a, what do you call that? Body style? Sedan, right? Yeah, sedan, there we go. And let's just say 2019, who knows how much it costs? What, 25?
$10.
And then, so if I click on this, where is it? There it is. Yep. So it just very dynamically grabs this data. So we can look at how it's doing that. Okay, so let's look at this one because it's a little bit easier. So, and then I think I can zoom in. No, let me see if I go like this. No. Why is it not letting me zoom in? I just upgraded my OS, and now it's like all my things.
I don't think the assistive zoom works through screen sharing anyway, so that might...
Oh, okay, bummer. Well, here, why don't I do this? I'll copy it into a text, and then I can zoom that.
Yay. Look at her. Thank you.
And that's my trick.
And one other thing I'll mention too is if you have the Monkey Bread plugin, that allows you to do zoom in FileMaker. Calculation engine and script editor, I think too.
Nice.
Script editor, I think you can do the calculation engine too.
All right, so I have this wrapped around JSON format elements, so you technically don't need that. And what I'm passing in is the model. So that's really the I'll have to check what's the order. So the model is going to be the table. So if I come over here, let me cancel it here. If I come over here and I see this table here is called model. So I need to put that table name. Where did my file go now? Make it rid of that. So that table name, and then this is a return delimited list of the fields in that table. So if, let's say I don't want all these fields, then you know, I can put whatever I want that I need it to grab. And now this one is going to be the name of the object. So I need to put all these records inside of an object name. So this could be whatever you want to call that object. And this is going to be the total amount of children records that I want to include. So this is a way to just include all of them. But if you only want the top 5, or you only want 5 or whatever, you could hard code that. And that's it. That's all it does in the custom function. Well, then these all are used in the recursion, so you just leave those blank. But then the custom function will create that JSON for you.
Nice.
And then one other thing I do want to point out, I think, let's see, this one is, no, wait, what am I doing? Let's look at that script, sorry. Okay, so this is probably a little bit better way of so this is kind of you to get the concept, but probably the right way to do it is this. And so that way, if your field names change, you know, you don't have to come in and change the custom function parameters. So all this does is this uses another custom function that strips out the field name. So you have that, and then it'll create it will then do everything else. Okay. Any questions about that? So this, yeah, so it'll use the all fields equals that. And so this is really the custom function right here. All right, so that's what I've got. And this demo file is available on our blog, is on the Soliant Consulting blog, and you can download it there with a little explanation of it too.
Nice, cool.
Cool. All right, so that's all I have. David, did you say you had something that you wanted to share?
Oh, no, right now, no.
No? Okay. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome. That's fun.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. We'll end the broadcast here.
Awesome.